Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we are going to study the second half of Jeremiah, the prophet Yirmiyahu, chapter 32, 32b. So we're going to complete this chapter 32. In the first chapter, we read of the sale that Jeremiah the prophet was in the prison yard, and God told him that his cousin was going to come to sell him his field that was in Anatot, and God told him to go ahead and purchase the field from him. Despite the fact that this was in the middle of the siege, the Babylonians and the Chaldeans were outside the city gates, laying siege and about to breach the city gates. Jerusalem was about to fall. There was starvation and disease and people dying by the sword in the streets. And in the middle of all of this, God told Jeremiah, go ahead and purchase the field. And Jeremiah did it. He did what he was told. He gave him the money. And it seemed like a silly act. At this point, the field is obviously worthless. It's out there. It's outside the city. It's in a place which has already been taken by the Babylonians. But Jeremiah understood that the reason why God wanted him to do it was in order to demonstrate that one day in the future there will be a redemption. We will come back to Jerusalem. People will buy and sell fields again. And then, after that, Yirmiyahu, in front of the people, turned to God and prayed, God, with all of this going on, you have the power and the might and the ability to perform any kind of miracle. You could save us from the Babylonians and the Chaldeans. You can give us somehow some way out of this. You can perform all sorts of miracles. You split the sea. You killed the army of the Assyrians when they surrounded the city of Jerusalem. All these miracles that you did, you're the most powerful. But what is it that you do? You ask me to do this act which seems silly and seems small. So God answers him, and that's what we're about to begin now. God answers him as follows. Verse 26. Vayehi devar Adonai el Yirmiyahu leimar. And the word to Jeremiah, the answer to Yirmiyahu was as follows. Hine ani Adonai, behold, yes, I am God Elohecha basar. I am the God of all living flesh. Hamimeni yipalei kol davar. Is there anything too wonderful for me to do? Of course not. I can do anything. I could save you from the Chaldeans. I could perform some sort of miracle. I could perform some sort of sign to show the people. However, Lachein, therefore, Kol Amar Adonai, because I am the God of all flesh, I am the God of all living beings. Therefore, I say as follows: I am going to give this city into the hands of the Chaldeans, and it is going to fall into the hands of Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, and he will capture it. I rule over everything. I'm not going to perform a miracle now to save the people, because I am God over all human beings, and I am going to allow the Babylonians to win this battle. And the Chaldeans who are waging war against this city are going to come. And they are going to set fire to the city and burn it down. And all of the homes within the city will burn. All of those homes, asher kitru al gagoteim labal, those homes where they made burned incense on the rooftops of those homes to the idol of the Baal. V'hisichu nisachim, and they poured libations le'elohim acherim, to other gods, lemana chiseni, in such a way that it aroused my anger. Because the people were unfaithful to me, I am not going to do any kind of miracle to save them. Nope, nothing from me here. I am going to allow nature to take its course, and the powerful army is going to win this battle. Because, this is verse 30, the people of Israel and the people of Judah, in other words, the northern kingdom which has already been destroyed, and the southern kingdom of Judah, all of them. Ach osim hara be'einai min uroseihem, from the beginning of their times, they're constantly and always they've been doing evil in my eyes. Ki b'nei Yisrael, because the children of Israel, ach machisim osi b'maasei yedehem nom Adonai, they are constantly angering me with their actions. So no miracles. Ki al api v'al chamasi ha'isali ha'ir hazos, because this city, from the time that they built it until this very day, it has aroused my anger and my wrath. L'min hayom asher banu osa, from the time they built it until today, v'ad hayom hazeh lahasira me'al panai, therefore it must be removed from my presence. This is verse 32. Al kol ra'as b'nei Yisrael, in retribution for all of the bad that has been done by the people of Israel, b'nei Yehuda, and the people of Judah, asher asu lachiseni, that they did in such a way that it angered me. Hema, they, malchehem, their kings, sarehem, their officers and leaders, kohanehem, their priests, nevi'ehem, and their false prophets, v'ish Yehuda, and all of the people, the general public of Judah, v'yoshvi Yerushalayim, and all the residents of Jerusalem. In other words, at all levels of society, they were corrupt. The leadership, the religious leadership, the priestly leadership, the false prophets, the kings, the officers, everything, corruption, top to bottom. Vayifnu elai oref v'lo panim. They didn't turn towards me and face towards me to pray, to worship, to learn, to hear what I had to teach, but rather they turned their backs to me and ignored everything I tried to tell them. V'lamed osam hashkem v'lamed. And I tried to teach them. I diligently tried to teach them, repeatedly tried to teach them the right way. Still, ve'enam shom'im lokachas musar. They refused to listen. They refused to accept instruction. They refused to listen. Vayasimu, instead, they placed shikutzehem. They placed this is verse 34, their vile idols, babayis asher nikra shmi alav, in the house that I called my name upon it, l'tama'o, to make it unholy and defiled. Now, this could mean that they actually did place idols in the temple, or it could be that this is referring to the worship in the temple that was supposedly being done to God was disgusting before God. If you remember, Isaiah chapter 1 used the term, chapter 1 verse 13, for example, Lo tosifu havim min chashav, stop bringing to me these false offerings. Kitoret to'evahili, the incense is an abomination to me. God had called the actions of the people in the temple an abomination. Similarly, over here, what God could be saying is either that they actually did put idols in the temple, which is obviously would have been a horrific defilement, but he could also have been referring to the worship in the temple itself was shikutzehem, was disgusting. And Vayivnu et bamot, and this is verse 35, Vayivnu et bamot haBaal asher begei ben Hinnom, and they built altars to the Baal in the valley of Ben Hinnom. This almost kind of backs up what I said in the previous verse, that the previous verse was talking to about the temple worship being disgusting, and because then it says afterwards that the Bamot HaBaal were built in Gei Ben Hinnom, in the valley of Ben Hinnom, not in the temple itself. Lavir, and to do things that were so disgusting and so far from anything that I ever could have wanted from you, God says, Lavir et b'nehem yet b'nosehem lamolech, that they would sacrifice their sons and daughters to the Molech, which was idol, that which child sacrifice, the horrific practice of child sacrifice was practiced in worship of this idol. Asher lo tzivisim, I would never ever have commanded such a thing. V'lo alta al libi, and God says, this is something that could never have entered into my mind. La'asot ha'to'eva hazot, that people should do such disgusting and horrible things. L'man ha'chati et Yehuda, in such a way that Judah had become so full of corruption and guilt. Verse 36, Viata, and now, therefore, so because of this, no, I'm not gonna do anything to change the outcome of this battle. the Chaldeans, the Babylonians attacked, and I'm going to let them attack, and I'm going to let them destroy the city and take it into their possession. Viata, and now, this so says God. L'chein, ko amar Adonai Elohei Yisrael. So says God, the Lord of Israel. El ha'ir hazot, to this city. Asher atem omrim, that you are saying, nitna biyad melech Bavel, that it's being given into the hands of the king of Babylon, b'cherev u'varav u'vadaver, in sword and in famine and in pestilence and in disease. Yes, I am giving over the city, but I do have a message. And this is God's answer. I'm not going to come down and do any special miracles now, but I do want you to teach the people that there will be a future, that this is not the end. Hineni mekabtzom mikol haratzot. I will gather the people eventually from all of the lands asher hidachtim sham, that I have sent them to be'apiu v'chamasiu v'ketzav gadol. I did send them there in my anger and in my wrath and in my great rage, but I will return them to this place and settle them here in safety. I will settle them here in safety. And they will be for me for a nation. And I will be their God. In other words, yes, I am not going to come down and perform some major miracles. But I do want you to know that this is not the end. They will be scattered because, yes, I am angry. I have great wrath. They will be scattered around the world, but they will one day be gathered here again. V'nosati lohem, and in this future I will give to them leiv echad, one heart, v'derech echad, and one way, liyiraoti kol hayomim, to fear me, to be in awe of me, to revere me is a better word actually, to revere me kol hayomim, for all those days, for all time, for all future, l'tov lahem, in a way that it will be good for them, v'livnehem acharem, and for their children and their grandchildren and so on. This leiv echad v'derech echad is the unity of purpose that will happen, that was described in the previous chapter that Jeremiah talked about, that the people of the north and the people of the south, the people of all the classes of society, and the people of the entire world will then serve me together, b'leiv echad, with one heart, in one way. V'charati lahem brit olam, and I will then make an eternal covenant with them, asher lo ashuv me'achareihem, that I will not turn my back from them, lehetivil otam, that I will be there to give good to them. And the key being, v'et yirati etein b'lvavam, I will put my, I will instill reverence for me into their hearts, levilti sur me alai, so that they will never turn aside from me. In other words, my presence, like we learned before, that new covenant is the covenant of the type where the closeness to God is so glaringly clear and obvious that the people will follow me. I will no longer be distant in such a way that people will question whether or not there is love between me and the people, but rather I will be so close that there will be no room to have such a question. It will be in their hearts and souls, the knowledge of the closeness of the people to God. V'sasti alehem lehetivotam, and I will rejoice over them in order to do good to them. Unitatim ba'aretz hazot be'emet, and I will plant them in this land in truth. So the be'emet could be describing the planting, that I'm going to plant them in a true way, meaning long-lasting forever. B'chol libi, with my entire heart, v'chol nafshi, in all my soul, with God speaking as if he was a person saying with all my heart and soul. God speaks in the language of man, even though obviously he doesn't have a heart or a soul, so to speak. This also, nitatim ba'aretz hazos be'emet, could mean that when in this time the people will be planted be'emet, in a truthful way. They will learn that truth is the way to be planted in this land. And then verse 42, Kicho amar Adonai, because so says God, Kasher heviti el ha'am hazeh es kol ha'ra hagdola hazot, just like I am bringing this evil upon these people, Kein anochi mevi aleim es kol ha'tova asher anochi dover aleim, I am also going to bring all of the good that I promised to them. V'nikno hasodeh ba'aretz hazot asher atem omrim shemamahi and fields will once again be purchased in this land which you say now is desolate and devoid of man and animals, and being given over to the hands of the Kasdim, to the Chaldeans. One day there will be fields purchased. This is why I want you to do this silly symbol, to show the people that even though, yes, this disaster is happening now, and no, I'm not going to intervene with some kind of miraculous redemption, but one day there will be a future, and that future, the good future, will happen just like the bad present is happening now. And sados bakesef yiknu, people will purchase fields for money, v'chasov v'sefer v'chasom, and it will be written down in contracts and it will be signed, v'ha'ed edim, and people will bear witness, be'eretz Binyamin, in the lands of Benjamin, uv'svivei Yerushalayim, and in the surrounding cities of Jerusalem, uv'arei Yehuda, and all the cities of Judah, uv'arei Ahar, in the cities in the mountains, uv'arei Ashfela, in the cities in the Shefela area, of Arei HaNegev, and the cities in the south, Ki Yashives Shvusam, because I am going to bring them back from their captivity. Noam Adonai, so says God. So this was God's answer to Jeremiah. Yes, no, I am not going to intervene with some great miracle. Yes, that is, even though I am all powerful, because the people deserve this punishment now. But I am also making a promise about the future. And this action that I asked you to do was a symbol to show the people that they should know that one day the redemption will come. Thank you so much for studying chapter 32 together. Looking forward to studying chapter 33 and, of course, the rest of the book of Jeremiah.